Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. My guest today is widely considered the enlightened face of Marxism in India. He believes that the time has come to learn from past mistakes and to change the way we do things. The problem is that more often than not, the challenge he faces comes from his party and his allies. Can he overcome it, or will they checkmate him? That's the principal question that I shall put today in an exclusive interview to the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee. Chief Minister, last year you said, we cannot dwell in the past. We have to keep pace with changing times. We have to reform and perform or perish. What precisely did you mean?
Well, what I am telling my colleagues and also my members in the party and also the media that big changes are taking place all over the world. Our experience in Soviet Union, why they failed. Now what we are experiencing in China, introducing new policies, Vietnam, China. Recently I visited Vietnam. And we have contact with the major communist parties all over the world. We are debating among ourselves and come to certain conclusions that our earlier policies, programs, we have to change. Otherwise, we cannot look forward, much forward. We have to change in our thinking and economic formulating, while formulating economic policies. We have to change our idea about democracy. We have to change our idea about multi-party system, political pluralism. In all these areas, we have to change. And in case of governance, what we thought when we first started this government in the year 1977, now big changes have taken place in the world, in the country. Therefore, we are trying to formulate our policies in industry, in agriculture, in education. The essence is that world is changing and we have to change accordingly.
You also said something else last year that is equally important. You said we face, we meaning the left parties, an image problem. We committed mistakes in the 60s and 70s. Investors are still apprehensive about us. What sort of mistakes did you have in mind?
I tell you, when we are in the opposition, we encourage certain agitations in the factories, in other places also, like Gherao, forcefully confinement of management people in the factories. And Gherao is a term now, it is in Oxford Dictionary, that is our contribution. Now we feel that these are serious mistakes. It has sent wrong message to every part in the country, in foreign other countries. Therefore, when we are changing, we tell our trade union leaders, look, we just cannot repeat our past mistakes. You have to understand the new situation, the competition all over the world, the productivity, quality of production. These are not only the headache of the management, you have to share it. If the factory fails, then you will lose your jobs. Therefore, there should be a harmonious relation between management and workers. Otherwise, we cannot advance.
You're talking about a major change in thinking and attitude. You're talking about a major attempt to admit past mistakes. These are both very major attempts.
Yes, because we did commit certain mistakes. And it created serious image problem in the country and also in the foreign countries. Now,
would you accept that both these statements that I've quoted are in a sense twin poles of the challenge you face as Chief Minister? The first being to change the thinking and attitude of your party, the second being to convince investors that they have to forget the past and accept that there is a new government and a new thinking in power in Bengal today.
Let me reply to your second question first. That is most important so far I am concerned. We have to convince the investors in the country and other foreign countries that we are investment-friendly government, not only in our speeches, but in our actions. And I think things are changing for the better.
What about convincing your party that the time has come to change its attitude, to change its thinking?
That debate is still going on, but I am optimist. This debate is going on in almost all communist parties all over the world. I attended a party conference of South African Communist Party, great debate. about nationalization or no nationalization.
Let's stick to the debate within your party.
Yes.
Let's take up a couple of examples, because to many people it seems that Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee says new things, does new things, but when he comes back to Calcutta, his party either opposes them, or the party tries to dilute them, or worse, sometimes the party tries to sabotage them.
It is not, things are not that bad. I just can give you 2-3 examples. For years together, for last 20-25 years, we had to run state public undertakings. They're all loss-making units, and we could not do anything. Earlier, these are all private units, and when that factory is closed, for many reasons, mainly the failure of the management, the workers demanded that we should take over. We took over without knowing the consequences. Now most of them are loss-making. Then I decided we just cannot allow this to happen. We have to change, we have to do something. And we started restructuring. We have completed almost 56 units. Some we had to close those factories, some for privatization, some for joint sector. The main thing is we are restructuring our public sector.
Quite right. That is the policy of the Chief Minister of Bengal.
Yes.
That I have no doubt about. And in fact, as your Industry Minister Nirupam Sen recently said, the burden these companies have placed on the state is huge, and as a result we have to reduce our spending.
Exactly.
If they are not viable, we will close them.
Yes.
The problem is that your own affiliated unions don't believe that profitability and economic viability are the right way of judging public sector units. They disagree with your thinking.
No. You see, we could convince these trade union workers, trade leaders, and then the workers also, that there is no alternative. No government, left or right, can afford to run this government in this way.
But are you succeeding in convincing them?
Yes.
Let me quote to you.
We have almost completed the first phase of restructuring.
Except for the fact that you're doing it in the teeth of their opposition. Jyoti Prasad Basu, General Secretary of the Coordination Committee of Government Employees, says about your attempt to restructure, most of the companies were started with a social motive, and profit making was never the objective. So when you say to him, these are not viable, he says to you, viability is not the important concern.
All that I can say, that we are in touch with all trade union leaders, and the person you mentioned is the government employees leader. We tell them, look, you go through the papers, you go through the figures, statistics, how government is spending money, and what results. We just cannot afford to run these companies. And we have completed the first phase. Second phase, we are going to restructure our SEB
Except for the
and
fact...
transport corporations.
And you're committed to restructuring both state electricity and transport?
Yes.
Those are going to be the most difficult tests you face?
Yes, but difficult, but I am sure we'll be able to do it.
You have the determination?
Yes.
Let me tell you why I ask you that question. Last year in August, speaking to the Singapore Indian Chamber of Commerce, with the whole world listening to you, this is what you said: I am telling my workers you have to change. If you fail to change, your company may fail.
Yes.
1 month later, you got your reply from M.K. Pandey, the head of CITU, the CPM trade union, speaking at your own Politburo. Do you know what he said? Publicly he said, change should not go against our basic principles. Can you overcome that opposition?
Yes, I am telling you, we are debating among ourselves, no doubt. There are differences of opinion, shades of difference, you can say. But I am always trying to come to some certain consensus with the trade union leaders. And I think that is not a major problem for us.
Except for the fact...
They look at from their angle, from their point of view. And I have to run the government. I have to protect the interest of both the industry, the corporate houses, and the workers.
In which case, let me ask you a critical question.
Yes.
Which is more important to you, running the government or appeasing your trade union colleagues?
Both.
You can't do both.
Yes, because there is not so antagonistic.
There is definitely an antagonism.
In that, therefore, we have to persuade them. We have to convince
What
them.
happens when you fail?
If I fail, what I believe, I will carry on.
Ah, if you fail what you believe you will do.
Yes.
That's a promise.
Yes.
That's a promise.
That's a promise. Because I am committed to our people.
So at the end of the day, Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee as Chief Minister of Bengal will do what he thinks is right for the state, regardless of what the unions say, if after trying to persuade them, he fails to do so.
Yes.
Let me give you
But I have to patiently move and try to persuade them at least.
the problem is
To understand the reality.
the problem is how much patience do you have? Let me give you another example. In September, there was a statewide general strike. You pleaded with the unions not to paralyze the IT industry.
Yes.
Not only did they ignore you, they embarrassed you. For the last 6 months, you spent your time explaining to the industry that that sort of mistake will never happen again.
I am telling you, I am not only meeting these IT players, what happened on that particular day, I am also meeting trade union leaders to explain before them what is IT, what it is all about.
But do they
You just
understand? But do they understand?
I have sent some experts to explain before them what is IT, what is the difference between a jute factory and an IT company. You have to understand that, and then you have to take. One thing I can assure you, that some outsiders went there and created some problem. I will see to it that no outsiders can enter any IT company in the future.
Including using the security forces if necessary?
Of course. We'll,
In other words, you will
if-
use the
if
state police to ensure
I
that
don't think
outside trade unionists don't interfere.
I should not, what I feel, if I come out with open appeal to the workers of IT and also other workers, that you should not disturb IT factories from outside.
It failed in September.
That was a confusion. And they had
How do you know it won't happen again?
I assure you. I assure you because I have discussed with the CIT.
Is this an assurance that people like Wipro who are investing a fortune in your state, can they believe it?
I have sent a message and they understand what I say, I do.
Let me go back to the quotation that I began with.
Yes.
You said we have to reform and perform,
Yes.
or we have to perish. People look at you and say, there's no doubt that Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee is determined to reform and perform. The problem is, many people in his party, many of his allies want to perish.
Nobody wants to perish. They have to understand reason. They have to that things are changing. We have to change accordingly. But some people still like have some peculiar ideas. They stick to old dogmas. We have to persuade them to change.
When you came back from your triumphant tour of Indonesia and Singapore, having secured 5 billion rupees worth of investment in your state from the Salem Group, instead of being applauded by your own allies and your party, your ally, the General Secretary of the Revolutionary Socialist Party, Devabrata Bandyopadhyay, turned around and said publicly, we shall not allow multinationals to invest here, come what may.
I know their position. They are a left party. But I had a discussion with Mr. Banerjee several times after that.
And he's changed his mind?
No, they will not change their mind. They will oppose in their own way, but I have to go forward in my own.
You're determined to go forward?
Yes.
What about people like Abdur Razak Molla, your own land reforms minister?
He was...
He opposed it?
No. He did not oppose the idea. He is concerned with land, conversion of land.
Have you convinced him?
Yes. Now
You have no problem?
No problem. We have
So-
taken a decision in the cabinet clarifying all these issues. How to convert agricultural land from agriculture to for use for the industries. That was some gray areas. Now we have clarified.
Let me put it like this. You're telling me that you are prepared to accept the opposition from Devabrata Bandyopadhyay, but you will still carry on. You're prepared to accept opposition from the trade unions after you've tried to persuade them and fail, you'll still carry on.
Not only you, but because we have a clear industrial policy.
Is your government united with you?
Yes, of course.
Is your party united with you?
Of course.
All of them?
All of them. There are some difference of opinion, but yeah, I think it is not a major problem for me. You see, our policy, even my policy, no, industrial policy is a government policy. It was formulated by the government. All parties are committed to it. Therefore, if somebody says on one fine morning that I don't accept this, I cannot help him.
In which case, let me put it like this. If you win the forthcoming elections, will the same Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee who's speaking to me about the importance of reform, about the importance of change, then actually implement it fully?
Of course.
100%.
Of course, if we get the verdict of the people, that will help me to go ahead.
it will help you.
Yes.
And the bigger the majority you get, the more determined you will be to reform and change.
Of course, just like that.
So you are actually appealing to the people of Bengal. You're saying, give me the biggest majority possible so that I can give you the biggest changes and the
Yes.
fastest growth.
Exactly.
Let's take a break at that point. I want to come back, Chief Minister, and talk to you about the elections. And in particular, I want to talk to you about the Election Commission. Is it a problem or is it being exaggerated? We'll be back in a moment's time. Don't go away. Welcome back to an exclusive interview with the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee. Mr. Bhattacharjee, let's talk about the elections that start next month. Are you embarrassed by the fact that because of widespread fears that the left parties indulge in what's called scientific ringing, Bengal is going to see a 5-day polling process spread over an unprecedented 22 days?
You should not, my first reaction is that you should not use this scientific rigging. You should not denigrate science.
Okay, but my point is, does the left front indulge in rigging, scientific or otherwise?
You see, it is not possible to win the election through wrong practices, rigging or what it is. People, some section of media, they don't understand why it is happening, why this government is going on 6 consecutive elections, running this government for 28 years. Why? Is there not any anti-incumbency factor? Is there not any grievances of the people? But the main point I just like to draw your attention, the situation of West Bengal is unique in one area. That is most important reason. We have successfully implemented land reform in our state. And this has changed the political correlations of the state.
As a result, people vote for you.
People will vote for us. 72% of the land belong to poor. Panchayat belong to poor. They will not change their mind.
All right, that is your explanation for why the left front has won 6 consecutive elections in the state.
Yes.
On the other hand, 600 companies of paramilitary police and paramilitary troops will be enforcing just the first phase of the election this time round, compared to just 300 for the whole of Bengal in 2001. That's the extent to which the Election Commission has lost confidence in Bengal.
I have no allegation against Election Commission. Let them take more force from outside. That will not create any problem for us, because they cannot change the mind of the people.
13 lakh illegal fraudulent names have been deleted from the electoral register in your state.
It is but normal.
No, it's not. It's 4 times what happened in 2004. It's not normal. It's 4 times greater.
Let them, I am totally satisfied. Then the name of the dead people, dead person, or the people who have changed their addresses, who have left their houses, that should be cut off from the.
Except for the fact that
I think this is not a major problem.
It's not a major problem.
They have
because
done it
the Election
correctly.
Commission will do it correctly.
They have done it correctly, and we supported them.
You applaud the Election Commission.
Yes.
You applaud them.
Yes.
Can I point out?
Yes, yes.
That's very different
They have
to what your colleague Biman Bose, the chairman of the Left Front, is saying about the Election Commission. Just earlier this week, he accused election officials of not knowing what they were doing, of acting according to whims and fancies. You don't agree with him?
I am not a party to criticize Election Commission in any way.
When your senior colleagues, like the chairman of the Left Front, criticize the Election Commission, do you think they're making a mistake?
I don't comment on what my friends have said, but so far I'm concerned, the Chief Minister of the state and the leader of the party also, I am not going to say anything against the election.
The interesting thing is that you're not supporting your party colleague when he criticized the Election Commission. You are maintaining your own position.
Yes.
And you're applauding the Election Commission.
Yes.
Applauding, I'm repeating
Not
it again.
applauding, I will not react. Let them whatever they like.
Let me come back to the question I began with. Tamil Nadu, with 234 seats, will see a one-day election, and it'll all be over in one day flat. Bengal, with just 60 more seats, is going to see polling over 5 days, spread over 22 days.
So what? We can ready to play one-day cricket, we are ready to play 5-day test.
You're not embarrassed by this?
No. We are ready to play one-day cricket, we are ready to play 5 days test match.
But this is
Our
not,
team is ready.
this not a question mark over the way in which things have been handled in Bengal? Doesn't that question mark embarrass you?
That people, with these decisions, they cannot change the mind of the people.
Except for the
I am
fact,
sticking on my point.
except for the fact that Bengal today seems to be treated the same way as Bihar. As Chief Minister, aren't you embarrassed that you're being put on that same level?
People will decide. People will react. People's verdict
So you have
is the final.
So you have no anger, no anguish against the Election Commission?
Absolutely not.
And you will not repeat
Because
the
I believe the strength of the people, and they will say the last words.
And you will not repeat the criticisms leveled against the Election Commission by senior party colleagues like the Left Front Chairman Biman Bose?
I will never.
You're dissociating yourself from them.
Exactly.
Actually dissociating yourself.
Yes.
That's a very strong
Because I
thing
know
to do.
my responsibility.
That is a very strong thing to do. He could be upset and angry with you.
But I have to perform my duty.
This time round, because of the monitoring, because of the security, people are questioning whether the Left Front can win again. Can you win?
Of course. I invite you to come on the day of counting.
And will, in fact, the CPM this time round win a majority on its own?
I hope so.
Hope so. Suddenly you're not so sure.
Because before election one cannot say. I am not a...
But you were absolutely confident that the left parties as a whole will win. What about the CPM winning a majority on its
the
own?
political correlation at this moment, our position, our campaign, our strength, the media, industry, middle class, working class, farmers, if you take all this together, our position is improved, no doubt.
But if our position's improved and you have no doubt about it, then why aren't you saying there's no doubt the CPM will win a majority on its own?
Because it is, I just cannot say before the election results are out.
Suddenly, on this critical issue, are you being honest or are you losing your confidence?
About?
This critical issue of whether the CPM will win a majority on its own. Are you being honest or have you lost your confidence?
No, I am confident, but the question of CPM only winning the majority, it is important point, but we have a front, after all, left front.
As Chief Minister of West Bengal, I want to draw your attention to a major crisis that occurred this week in national politics. The whole issue of offices of profit. 11 of left front MPs are alleged to be holders of offices of profit. Several of those are members of your party. That also includes the Speaker. Yesterday, Thursday, Sonia Gandhi set a moral example by resigning. Do you think the others should follow suit?
No, just not. Just tell me, let me explain to you. Our party's position is, the main problem started with the definition of office of profit. This is totally grey area. Nobody knows what it is.
It needs to be clarified.
Yes. And only Parliament can solve this problem. Through passing a bill in the Parliament. They should not have planned for an ordinance. That's much I can tell you.
The government was wrong in Delhi to have tried an ordinance.
Yes.
Can I push you a little further?
Yes.
In addition to being wrong in terms of trying to do it by ordinance, were they also wrong to have adjourned Parliament sine die without consulting the opposition or the other parties?
They did it hurriedly just to close the Parliament, sine die, and then come out with the ordinance. This is not fair in a parliamentary democracy. They should seriously rethink, and they should not go for ordinance. They should place a bill in the Parliament, and then there should be a consensus, because all parties are involved, not only our party. Congress people, BJP people, others, so many MPs are involved in so many corporations, agencies, so many...
Many people say that the behavior of the central government on Wednesday and Thursday, when they adjourned Parliament sine die, when they tried to make a major amendment in the law through ordinance rather than through a bill, reminded people of the days of the emergency.
That is the problem with Congress. They should not have done this. They should have applied their mind before doing that.
You too felt
yes.
that this was reminiscent of the emergency?
I just not know. They have learned lessons from the emergency because Mrs. Gandhi was defeated for that reason. They should not revive their old ideas.
How serious a mistake was this?
Very serious, very serious.
Very serious?
Very serious.
Has it damaged the moral standing of the central government?
I should not say this is totally lost their credibility or moral standard, but it is, people has not liked it, what they are going to do.
Even if they haven't totally lost their moral standing and credibility, has that standing been dented?
Partly, I should say.
It has been?
Yes, therefore Sonia Gandhi resigned.
Tell me,
to save the situation.
Sonia Gandhi resigned to save the situation. In other words, she resigned because her party had got into such a predicament and problem,
Yes.
she had to resign to save the party.
Yes, to convince the people at least she is not responsible for all this.
So in other words, Sonia's resignation was almost an act of last-minute desperation to save her party.
His party and her image.
And her image.
Because it was between Joy Bachchan, it was becoming between Joy Bachchan and Sonia Gandhi. Like,
has Sonia Gandhi's image in your eyes gone up or down or stayed the same?
I don't think so. But
it stayed the same. So this is not capturing the moral high ground.
Yes, because he cannot deny that the government was moving for a dead ordinance and she was not in the know of anything. He just, I also do not believe, as chairperson of UK, I think he was in the know of. But finally, they could not understand its impact. Not only in media, the people large will not accept this position.
Finally, Chief Minister, you're one of those rare politicians in India who knows and accepts that there is more to life than politics. You've shown it and proved it in your own life. How then do you justify the fact that repeatedly and deliberately you have politicized the fact that Sourav Ganguly has been dropped from the Indian cricket team?
You see, I met Sourav yesterday. He is terribly upset. What I feel, not Sourav is from Bengal, he's a Bengali. If you go to the performance, and it is totally what they are doing, insulting him, humiliating him.
Except, are you the right person as Chief Minister of Bengal to judge what the selectors do? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the expertise to judge the selectors?
No, I am not that. But if you go through the performance of Sourav Ganguly, as a captain and as a batsman, if you go to how many runs he...
let me quote to you what you said on the 16th of December. Do these people have the acumen to judge Sourav Ganguly? Again, I doubt the wisdom and sense of proportion of the people who are behind this.
I repeat this because...
You stand by it?
Yes, stand by. Because, but my main reason is that I was a cricket player in my college days, but not like these selectors.
But do you think you know more than the selectors?
But if you compare with Sourav Ganguly and these people, who are they? They are nothing. If you compare with Sourav Ganguly's performance.
The selectors are nothing compared to Sourav Ganguly.
To judge Sourav Ganguly's.
The selectors are no one to judge Sourav Ganguly.
Their level of, should I say, wisdom. If you go, I am just trying to impress upon you, if you go to the performance of Sourav Ganguly, they are deliberately doing it.
So you stand by everything that you said?
Yes.
You don't think you owe an apology to Kiran More?
Why should I? They are doing it wrongly. They are doing it for many other vested interests. I don't know.
Are you sure you're not saying this simply to make political capital of it?
No, I don't need that. Sourav I told Sharad Pawarji only once that we want justice. That's all. If you go through his performance, how can he be dropped from the team?
Chief Minister, a pleasure talking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Thank you.